Okay, so I deleted that video on the fraternal brotherhood of police officers because not all police officers are wrong and they're not all dicks. So I felt that by all rights I should delete it. I shouldn't lump all the good apples in with the bad apples. There's good soldiers and bad soldiers. There's soldiers in Ukraine that are torturing people and wanting to torture people because that's who the fuck they are. And then there's people that just don't want to be there. You know, when it comes to police officers, again, I lost a guy that I really looked up to when I was in the Eagle Scouts. We rode with the police department for 2 years. We actually went down to LA and was standing guard in places and shit. We did flag duty and all that. And it hurt when he was murdered at home. But you see, when I hear police officers saying shit like, oh, a culture of violence, a woke, they're starting to say the woke word. I really don't know what that fucking means. A person's moral makeup doesn't put them in a group, which is why I deleted the last video that I did about you guys. There was a time when law enforcement officers ran around right here where I fucking live getting paid $50 a pop to scalp fucking Indians. I don't want to hear anything about now if you're not going to contend with the past. Since then, white men have tried to dominate our government, our churches, our banking, everything about our country has been controlled by white guys from another fucking country who came in and massacred, 9 million natives so they could have their land, take their gold, take their livelihoods, and then they put them in the middle of deserts. And you get to live over here. We're going to take this beautiful place that you guys have, and now you're going to go over here in the desert and live. I don't want to hear anything about it, man. Nothing, okay? I'm a Native American. I don't want to hear a damn thing about it. I understand these young black guys. I grew up with them. They were my teammates in baseball and in school. I see the difference how they're treated because you know what? The cops didn't know I was Indian. Society has created this violence. People like Donald Trump, who want to divide people, have created this violence. People like Tucker Carlson, who just spouts nothing but evil fucking hatred and white supremacy nonstop, He wants to destroy this fucking country and he won't be happy till he does. Now, this has nothing to do with politics. This is history. What do you think people are going to say about Tucker Carlson 100 years from now if we make it? This was the dark time for America when democracy almost died because someone was allowed to spew fucking hate and division for money to sell commercials. When the Murdoch family, almost brought down a fucking nation because they were allowed, because the law allows them, but there has to be a limit. You have to be responsible for the words that have a causality. Having the ability to say whatever you want does not absolve you from the responsibility of what you said. You can't run into a crowded theater and yell fire. Period. I mean, if you think you're badass, why don't you go to the nearest biker bar and walk in and say, all you motorcycle riders get fucked. You see, I understand society because I've grown up there. I saw it with my own eyes, the separation between me and my friends who were black, because most of my friends were black growing up. I saw when we get janked by the fucking cops, they grab them. They never grabbed me. Society has created this violence in this generation and the one before and the one before and the one before, because there will always be the disenfranchised that are taken advantage of by the system. You see, there can only be so many at the top of the pyramid. Top of the pyramid needs a gigantic base because the top of the pyramid has got all the fucking gold. That's where all the power and all the weight of the economy and our banking system resides. It needs a big base, which means it needs a lot of people just living in your goddamn box and paying your taxes and shutting the fuck up. But that's not who and what people are. That system isn't working anymore now that we have the internet and computers and people can communicate with other people around the world or their friends instantaneously. The world is changing whether they want it to or not. And they don't want it to, and that is what we're seeing right now. Those same old white guys, okay, that used to be plantation owners, right? They're now oil oligarchs in our country. If you don't think we don't have an oligarchy in the United States, then you're naive. It's as simple as that. You see all these, you see that the mental need for these billionaires to be involved in politics or to have something that will allow them to have more control of whatever it is that they desire. They could have complete control of this system. It makes them feel good, it makes them feel powerful. They're right. It's not all about the money because they got more than they could ever spend. Yet they continue and strive to make billions more. Who gives a fuck? You see, now, if you liquidated $100 billion in cash and made America's homeless problem go away, you would be known for the next 100 years as the person that, saved all these lives, and you'd be looked up to like a god. But they won't do it. They'll build a spaceship to take rides into space and pollute our fucking atmosphere for nothing other than a goddamn joyride. See? Number one, billionaires, stay the hell out of politics. And I mean every single way and every single inch. Just shut your mouth, okay? Stay out of it. You don't belong there. Wall Street, it's time everyone started paying their taxes. We would have a different country if you paid your taxes. That's not going to keep America from being like number 30 on the education list in the world. We're like down near the bottom. There are other countries where you can go and become a doctor for free. Work 4 days a week. They're all happy. They have public, government medicine. Everybody loves it. You see, there's a group here that they control the media. That's what the Murdochs are doing right now. Okay, they're the ones spreading all the hate. MSNBC, Business News, all these guys, they spread business propaganda just like the Murdochs spread hate propaganda. Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. It's the oldest technique in the world. So they want to divide us. Well, I have news for people like Tucker Carlson and the Murdochs, okay? Everybody's onto your ass. Number two, on a good night, you might draw 2.5 million people. Okay, there's 360 million Americans. As far as I'm concerned, you're doing pitiful. There are webcasts that get more than that. You're doing pitiful. You just have Tucker Carlson, and he says exactly what your red meat eating, basic white supremacist, guerrilla fighter, or whatever the fuck they think they are, okay, want to destroy democracy. I don't even think they understand what they're doing because they're too ignorant to basically understand, okay, so this is how a society survives because I've read history and I see how the rest have ended. And we're not going to make that mistake. Well, they're making that fucking mistake. I don't really have answers to the sociological problems. I don't. I know exactly how to fix a lot of the physical problems, like homelessness. That's easy to fix. Infrastructure, that's easy to fix. All those kinds of things are easy to fix. No problem. You just need the will to do it. And it's not hard to do. Changing people's mind, that's hard to do. Getting people to say, wait a minute, this guy, even though we don't have the same ideas about the way things should be, this guy's saying we should start fucking killing one another. Okay? He's our enemy, you guys. If you disagree with everything I have to say, Tucker Carlson is our enemy. He's not on your side. He's a millionaire fish stick baby. He could give a shit about you. It's all an act. He needs to be able to do that because it gives him a sense of power. As far as you as an individual, he could give a shit. As much as he cares about me. We, as Americans, okay, need to turn that vicious cycle of news off. Quit listening to other people and just listen to your heart, which says, like I've seen in almost all Americans, if you're in trouble, they will help you. And if you know, you'd never know what politics they are because they're just they're risking their life to save your life. And you might be completely adverse to each other in politics. But in that moment when Americans need Americans, we're there for each other. It's these fuck dicks that are like Alex Jones and the Murdoch family and Fox News that are trying to divide us. And we can't let them do it. Okay? You have to have the willpower just to turn that shit off. It's an addiction that you have, and I understand that addiction. Okay, I'm addicted to science fiction. I'm addicted to reading. I have my addictions. I don't hate Republicans who have a complete opposite view that I have. If they don't believe in climate change, I can explain climate change to them by simply asking them, do you believe in thermometers? If they say yes, I tell them, well, then you believe in climate change. You just don't know it. Fox News has been telling you this. Forever, Fox News has been anti-fucking climate. They can take a lot of responsibility for what happened in Florida. Over the last decade and a half, like this. It's all a lie. Oh, it's corporate America. Democrats. We should outlaw the word Democrat and Republican on nightly news. We should outlaw if you want to go watch political news, go the fuck over here and watch political news. But we should have news that we can watch like I did when I was a kid where politics weren't mentioned. Except for like right around an election. Then it would be, you know, the same kind of inundation. But no, we need to stop and not let them divide us. Okay? We created this. Cops were scalping people for $50 a pop. There was a time when that was going on. And if you can't follow that timeline that human beings are still the same human beings from that time, then there's nothing I can do to reach you. If you think people have changed since then, you're wrong. You're wrong. People have not changed since then. We have to stop letting the news divide us because we don't understand it. We're not willing to look at the other side at all. But again, okay, if someone was in trouble, we don't ask, hey, are you a Republican? No, Americans go in to try to help another person. I've seen it myself with my own eyes. I was saved by someone. I have saved someone. I've spent 20 minutes on the ground doing CPR on a guy. I understand what it's like to have someone need you because you're capable and you can help. Americans are always willing to chip in and help. They're very generous people. I've been all over this country, some of the most redneck areas in the world, and they're wonderful people. They might drink a lot of tea, but they're wonderful people. And it's this reverberation, this echo chamber that's been going here over the last decade and a half that's just driven us. And Trump just ripped the fucking band-aid off. That's all he did. Okay. There was a big hole there on the pipe and he just ripped the band-aid off. That's what he did. That's all. We can't blame it all on him because it goes back, like I said, from when people owned this place. There were people living here and white people said, oh, well, you can't live here. You're a savage. God wants us to live here. And that's what religion will do to us today. Where were all the religious people saying, oh, don't scalp those Indians for money? God doesn't want you to do that. Oh, no, they didn't say any of that. They were heathens. Oh, it's scary to think how little the world thinks about human nature and how weak it makes us, all of us. We're victims to it if we don't think about it. So turn off the news. Do more reading of your news and less listening of your news. Try to get news sources from at least 20 different places every day. If you're a Fox News person, okay, watch your Fox News and then go to CNN or MSNBC or the South China Post or the Jerusalem Post or Al Jazeera. Go somewhere else and get some news from somewhere else. Okay? Don't just have one news source. If you do that, what you're doing is you've joined a cult. If it's just one source, right here, it's cult. It's not information. It's unfiltered hate is what goes in from Fox News. I watch it so that other people don't have to. I study my enemy. And I see how their arguments are so semi-logical that the uneducated falls for it every time. Fucking bass hook, right in the corner of their mouth. So they can sell commercials. So it's good for business. That's what they said. That's what the Murdochs said. We're not going to stop lying and separating and making hate because it's good for business.